Hi, welcome to Lachlan Likes a Thing, a show where I take a thing and see whether or not I like it. Now the thing we're going to be looking at in this video is the AKG K550 stereo headphones. Now the K550 is one of those headphones that when I first saw the design, I wanted it since day one. And recently I saw them go on sale on Amazon Germany, so I snapped up a pair. The K550s look fantastic, and also they're from AKG, which is a really famous name in headphones and microphones. So, you get a good design and a prestige Austrian brand, so what's not to like? One of the first things that you'll notice about the K550 is that the build quality on these headphones is fantastic. You get these really nice metal finishes on the headband. Everything is really well put together. You get a nice sense of resistance, and there's no squeaks or rattles from any of the adjustment pivots. It is really nicely well put together. It has a really nice premium feel to it. The other thing that you'll notice about the K550 is that the ear cups are massive on these headphones. These are some of the biggest ear cups that I've ever seen on a headphone. To give you an idea, they sit like this on my head. Now, with the K550, a lot of people have actually reported on the forums that the ear cups are actually too big for their heads. They find it difficult to get a good seal with the Earpads, and they lose a lot of the bass because it doesn't fit quite right. Now I have, I think, an average sized head, so I found that the K550s sat relatively well on my head, but even then I found them quite sensitive to the seal from the Earpads. So depending on whether I was wearing glasses or not, I could actually notice a difference in sound, because even the arms of the glasses would press against these Earpads and change the seal a little. That said, they are incredibly comfortable headphones, at least on my head, because the Earpads are very, very soft and supple. They're very cushy. It's really pleasant to wear. However, they are relatively heavy, and because of the relatively thin headband padding, I found that, for short periods of time, they felt absolutely comfortable, but for longer periods, because of that little hot spot on the top of your head, I would find that the top of my head would get a little sore after a number of hours, probably 3 or 4 with them on. Now, a lot of people on the forums have tried to kind of fix this problem by bending the headband in a little to increase the pressure. But some other people have reported that when they tried to do that, the headband snapped. So I haven't really, I'm not about to try that. So in terms of sound, one of the first things you notice about the K550 is that for a closed back headphone, they actually sound like an open back headphone, or very, very close to an open back headphone. They sound very clean, very spacious. There's none of that congestion that you sometimes find with closed back headphones. Apparently that's one of the things that AKG was trying to target with the K550. They were trying to get an open backed headphone in a closed back headphone design, and I think that they've succeeded quite admirably there. One of the things I didn't like about the K550 sound is that the treble is quite dry, and actually on some tracks the treble actually has quite a peak to it. So it can sound somewhat tinny or fizzy at times. And I found that at times it could get a little irritating. Now in terms of the low end, I found that the bass of the K550, it extends very deep, it's very tight, but overall it's not actually a very bassy headphone, at least on my head. Overall it's not a warm sounding headphone at all. So combined with the treble energy, overall with the whole signature, the K550 is very lean sounding. It's clean, but it sounds a little dry. Personally, I prefer a little bit of a warmer sound, but I imagine that this kind of sound would find fans with a lot of people who want something a bit more analytical, and who want to hear a lot of detail in their music. Compared to other monitoring headphones like the M50, this definitely sounds less congested. but at the same time, it's not really as fun sounding. So with the K550s, I think that they actually work with a pretty wide variety of music, as long as the tracks that you're listening to aren't badly mastered or the treble isn't already sibilant, because the K550s will add to that. But other than that, I think that because they're pretty neutral headphones, they actually sound quite capable with a lot of different music. Now, in terms of would I recommend the K550s, they're definitely a technically really good headphone. They're well put together and they're comfortable. But I would kind of hesitate to recommend them to everyone. First off, just because the Earpads may not fit your head properly. And the second thing is you may not be as much of a fan of that kind of lean or dry signature. Personally, I prefer darker, warmer signatures for these headphones. But I have friends who love, for instance, the AKG K701, and apparently the K550 sounds somewhat similar. I'm going to try and figure out if that's actually true or not in the next few weeks. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Thanks to everyone who's liked my other videos and subscribed to my channel. If you want to have a talk with me about gear, just hit me up on Twitter. I'm @LockLikesAthing, and happy listening.